instead of coming here and talking about issues or out there as we're campaigning talking about what's important in Kentucky, he has waited till 3 months before this election, and then now he's beginning an attack campaign to where he has television, radio, and even mailers today we just got that are talking about an incident that happened 7 years ago.
Voter fraud is one of the more battled and blustered items in recent political campaigns, and far too often the evidence suggests something's going on despite a lack of solid evidence. In the sometimes vicious Kentucky midterms, a new possibility has surfaced. Not just voter fraud, but now identity theft, and an interesting case as well. Welcome back to MidPoint, a consumer advocate with more than 30 years experience and a nationally recognized expert on security, privacy, and identity theft. Adam Levin joins us right now. Adam, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you, Ed. Thanks for having me.
Adam, this is a really interesting case here. It certainly smacks of a whole lot of dirt going on here, because apparently a mailer was out, paid for by the Kentucky Democratic Party, and it had on the mailer itself for this one individual, Jeff Jobe, had his Social Security number, and we're seeing a picture of it right here. His Social Security number, his driver's license number, his date of birth, his home address, and his cell phone number. Adam, you got to be able to hack or find something. There has to be some way to stop this, but I guess they found out an easy way to get it. It must be awfully easy to find.
Well, this is a situation where the information had to have come from somebody on the inside. This wasn't necessarily a hack. We spoke with the police department in Glasgow, and they said that any time that a document be released to a third party, the personal identifying information on that document would be redacted. In fact, it's Kentucky law that you have to redact information on these documents when they're released to a third party. So they suggested it might have come from someone in the circuit court. We called the circuit court. We haven't gotten an answer yet. We called the Democratic Party and said, "How'd you get it?" And the response was, "Well, that's a very good question."
And you told them, of course, you were the guy asking the very good question, so why didn't they have a very good answer? Did they really have anything to offer?
They needed some, yeah, they didn't really have a lot of time to answer the question. But here's the real issue here is that this was dumb, dangerous, and irresponsible for anyone involved in any public environment to release a document that has the kind of personal identifying information that can lead to an identity theft.
Does this just tell us?
This isn't the first time it happened. I mean, this has happened in other parts of the country in different kinds of political campaigns, both state and federal, but it's got to stop.
Does this
and if you ask, yeah.
I was just saying, does this just tell us then that this information is out there and you contacted someone at the Democratic office, they said, gee, we don't know where we got it, but this information is so easily accessible, it is so easily stealable in so many ways, and there simply is no way, if someone just shrugs their shoulders and says, oh, I don't know, gee, came out of an email, came out of a friend of mine, I heard it in passing, there's no way to track it down because this information is rampantly available in so many places. It goes everywhere.
Well, no, it is rampantly available. I mean, there were many counties all over the United States where, in an effort to ease commerce, they made all kinds of personal identifying information available until it dawned on someone that this kind of information could lead to identity theft. There was a whole brouhaha in Texas a couple of years ago when Greg Abbott said to all the county clerks, if you don't redact PII off the documents that you have available to the public, that I might consider some form of criminal charge, and I'm giving you 60 days to do it. And then the clerks all went to the legislature to get him to kind of slow down. And this has happened in almost every state. Laws have now been passed that this kind of information has to be redacted. Maricopa County in Arizona has spent millions of dollars redacting documents with personal identifying information in it.
And the interesting part about this is the Kentucky Democratic Party issues a statement saying that the Republican Party should be, quote, ashamed for defending Jobe, who has been caught drunk driving repeatedly. So instead of going back on any of the facts and how they got it, they basically will continue the attack no matter what it takes, hoping that it gets buried. Quite often, though, it does get buried, doesn't it?
No, it does get buried. And in a situation like this, if you think about it, I think both sides have reasons why they'd like it to go away. I'm sure that Jeff Jobe is not happy about information about DUI floating around out there. And the Democrats are not happy about the fact that somebody made this boneheaded move to send a mailer out with unredacted personal identifying information in it that now creates an entirely new issue that diverts everyone again from what they're trying to prove.
And we need to point out, I think, that this absolutely is nothing more than a political ploy, and it certainly is a Democratic political ploy. Let's just call it exactly what it is here, because it comes down from Johnny Bell's office. And Johnny Bell, by the way, and I think you can confirm this, he said, I don't know where it came from. I didn't give it my approval. Here we go again. It's the great I didn't know, I wasn't around, the dog ate my homework more than anything else, right?
Well, we do know that in a lot of campaigns across the country, that a candidate runs the candidate's campaign, and then the party, either for the state or the county or the locality, may be releasing campaign literature as well, supporting their candidate or attacking the opponent. So it's very possible that the Bell campaign wasn't really part of this. It's just one of those things where it doesn't matter who did it or why they did it. The bottom line is you can't do it. It's a violation of Kentucky law. It has no place in American politics. Republicans, Democrats, this is red state, blue state, state of emergency when it comes to identity theft, as we talked about before.
I got about 30 seconds. We'll take a break, come back. We got a lot more to talk about here. But is there anything that the general person can do out there? Anything they could have done to stop this? Because this information is out there somewhere, so protecting yourself seems to be an impossibility.
It's almost impossible, and that's why I say to people, you really have to focus on monitoring, and you have to have a damage control program in place, which you can get through many institutions, because we're almost way beyond prevention at this point, unfortunately.
All right, now hang tight, because we're going to come back with Adam Levin here in just a moment, because we keep talking about identity theft, we keep talking about data in the 21st century. Hey, trust me, it doesn't always come through your computer sometimes, and that's what happens. A lot of people think, oh, my computer's protected, I'm fine. Guess what? You're not. We'll come back and talk about that. Later on this hour, we go on location to see how the Kurds are fighting back ISIS in Syria as we take you to spanning the globe. That's coming up right here on MidPoint.